We are okay. We always already in 9:03, so.
That's right, yeah.
All right. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Good morning, everyone. Today we have extraordinary event. I would say that because we are in the presence of greatness in many ways. Yeah. I'm playing the role of MC because today we have a moderator from Japan, from Hiroshima City University. So before we start, I'd just like to make a couple of welcoming remarks. Yeah, I would want to extend my appreciation to all who are present right now. Unfortunately, our director, Prof. Dr. Azim, he's not here. He's in KL, and our deputy director and a few other colleagues are elsewhere as well. So we welcome you to Center for Policy Research. It is the oldest social science research center in Malaysia. Before there were other think tanks in Malaysia or in ministries in Malaysia. This is the place where they send commission research, government grants to carry out research, including the one microcredit, microfinance from Dr. Yunus.
Grameen Bank.
Grameen Bank, Yunus. The Muhammad Yunus, right? We were hosting him for a while, and together with us today, it's a special day. Together with us today, we have a number of distinguished personalities. Right? We have Dr. Anwar Faisal, who has been contributing to Center for Policy Research in Livelihood College. So he was here for a stretch of time. He contributed for Center for Policy Research. By the way, this place was also the part of the old Chancellery stretch, right? Was it the Senate was presiding over here?
The registry used to be the
registry also here last time.
The Second World War.
Second World War.
Second World War building.
Second World War. I think we need help with that. Okay. And then I would also want to recognize the presence of Tan Sri Emeritus Professor Tan Sri Dzulkifli Abdul Razak, who is the founder of our sustainability agenda and the future studies in USM. So this is it's an honor to have all these distinguished personalities present with us, and of course together in Japan, we are waiting for our esteemed speaker, and I will let our moderator introduce him. Here we also invited many other people from outside of Malaysia. So the people from Africa, from the Arab world, from Philippines, stretching the whole continent there.
Indonesia.
And Malaysia, of course, Malaysia and Indonesia, a lot from Indonesia. So they are present as well. And here we also have students from the Club Sejarah, which is a history society in USM, present as well. So without further ado, I would like to. Hanif, are we ready? All right. Shall we show the video?
Yes.
And all that? Okay. All right. So this event is also part of the Global Futures Forum. If you can see the slide, we are showing that this is the 5th Global Futures Forum, where we highlight the idea of the significance of looking into the future and charting out future scenarios and the different possibilities that we can create. And this is also one of the brainchild of Tan Sri Zul, where our university managed to be bestowed with the recognition of being Apex University through this process of identifying future scenarios and targeting the preferred scenario. This is so we continue to champion this cause of looking into the future and charting out different futures. So this is part of the Global Futures Forum. Together with this, we also have a video to show. Hanif, are you ready? So the video, maybe Tan Sri, you like to, I'm not very sure, to, it's part of a...
Assalamualaikum, good morning, valuable diners. I just want to quickly say this part of what is called discussion. The last day. Part of
All right, thank you. So what we have witnessed just now was a short introduction to an exhibition in where is it held again?
Burma Road.
Burma Road. Okay. So I wasn't quite sure whether it wasn't quite obvious in the video there. So and today is the last day.
Yes.
Okay. So we would encourage those who are in Penang to go and visit the exhibition. It's Sogakakai Center in Burma Road. Or they have another branch in Burma Road. Yeah. Okay. Right. Today, we will be the whole format of the discussion today is a forum format. So it will be moderated by Prof. Madya, Associate Professor Dr. Azam from Hiroshima City. So he'll be conducting the whole session, and then we will have a discussion after that, who also will be moderated by Dr. Azam. So I'll pass the floor to Associate Professor Dr. Azam. Over the mic across the oceans to Dr. Azam in Hiroshima City University.
Thank you so much. Terima kasih, Dr. Reevany, my friend. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to everyone. Distinguished guests. Can you hear me okay? Distinguished guests, professors, students, and friend of peace. Is it okay? Oh, sorry, I heard my voice back. Sounds okay? It's bouncing back to me, the sound. Let me check. What's on the speakers? So should I off the speakers? Oh, later on I cannot hear anything. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning to everyone, distinguished guests, professors, students, and friends of peace. Welcome to the 5th Global Futures Forum with the theme of seeking a human society free of nuclear weapons and war. So this forum brings together the people from different nations and generations who all share one noble goal: to build a sejahtera world, a world of balance, compassion, and lasting peace. Today, we are truly honored to welcome Mr. Jiro Hamsumi, the Secretary General of the Japan Confederations of A and H bomb sufferers organizations, known in Japanese as Nihon Hidankyo. Established in 1956, Nihon Hidankyo represents the survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Hibakusha. For nearly 7 decades, it has been the moral voice for peace and the abolition of nuclear weapons. In recognition of these lifelong efforts, Nihon Hidankyo was awarded the 2024 Nobel Peace Prize. Mr. Hamsumi himself is a Hiroshima survivor, exposed to radiation while still in his mother's womb. Through his powerful testimony and peace advocacy, he reminds us that a sejahtera humanity is one built on empathy, memory, and hope. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm Malaysian welcome to Mr. Jiro Hamsumi.
皆様、おはようございます。私は広島で被爆し、現在日本原水爆被害者団体協議会日本被団協の事務局長をしております浜住二郎と申します。マレーシア科学大学における、グローバルフィーチャーフォーラムで発言できる機会をいただき感謝申し上げます。
My name is Jiro Hamsumi. I am a Hibakusha, an atomic bomb survivor from Hiroshima, and I currently serve as a Secretary General of the Japan Confederation of H-bomb sufferers, A and H-bomb sufferers organizations, Nihon Hidankyo. I'm deeply grateful today for the opportunity to speak in this forum organized by USM in Malaysia.
日本被団協は2024年のノーベル平和賞を受賞しました。受賞理由で核兵器は二度と使ってはいけないということを証言で示してきたこと、核兵器の使用は道徳的に容認できないという国際規範が形成され、核のタブーとして知られるようになったこと、そして80年近く核兵器が使われなかったという勇気づけられる事実を認めたい。しかし今日、核兵器に対する核のタブーが圧力にさらされている。今、核兵器は人類がかつて経験した中で最も破壊的な兵器であることを思い起こす必要があると述べられています。
In 2024, Nihon Hidankyo was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. The Nobel Committee stated that the organization has shown true testimonies that nuclear weapons must never be used again. It also recognized that the use of nuclear weapons has become morally unacceptable, forming an international norm known as nuclear taboo. The committee noted that humanity has lived nearly 80 years without the use of nuclear weapons, a hopeful reality. Yet today, the taboo is under pressure. It reminded us that nuclear weapons remain the most destructive arms ever created by humankind.
1984年生まれのフリードネスノーベル委員会の委員長は、広島、長崎を訪れたことはなく、少年時代に被爆者の話を知ったと言います。その記憶こそが歴史の過ちの繰り返しを避けることにつながると信じると言っています。記憶を生かし続けることで、私たちはより良い未来に向かって努力することができると。記憶を紡ぐカルチャーが強固なことは、国が前に正しい方向に向かって進むための前提条件になります。国際社会の正常な秩序を保つために極めて重要と言っています。アルフレッド・ノーベルの革新は、一人一人の力によって変化をもたらすことができる世界をより良い方向へと形作ることができるというものです。
The chairpersons of Nobel Committee, born in 1984, said he had never visited Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but first learned about the hibakusha stories as a boy. He said that these memories are what prevent humanity from repeating the mistakes of history. By keeping memories alive, we can strive for a better future. A culture of remembrance is essential for nations to move in the right directions and for maintaining the healthy international order. Alfred Nobel's core ideas was that each individual has the power to bring change and to shape a better world.
1945年8月6日、人類史上で初めて原爆が広島に投下されました。私は母親のお腹の中3ヶ月の時被爆しました。父親は朝早く爆心地近くの会社に出かけたまま帰らぬ人となりました。爆心地から4キロ離れた我が家は、避難してきた親戚家族でいっぱいになり、30人もの共同生活が始まりました。20歳になる青年が髪の毛が抜ける症状で亡くなりました。3歳になるいとこは20日ぐらいして何の傷もない中で突然亡くなりました。私の母の代わりに勤労動員に出たおじさんは大きな傷を負って帰り、3日後に亡くなりました。放射能の初期症状です。町は死体にあふれ、学校の校庭で毎日4体から5体、1ヶ月半焼かれました。
On August 6, 1945, the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, the first in human history. At the time, I was 3 months in my mother's womb. My father had gone early to work near the hypocenter and never returned. Our home, 4 kilometers from the hypocenter, became a refuge for many relatives, and about 30 people began living together. A young cousin, 20 years old, died after his hair began to fall out. A 3-year-old cousin, with no visible injuries, suddenly died after about 20 days. My uncle, who went to work in place of my mother, returned home severely burned and died 3 days later. All symptoms of radiation exposure. The town was filled with corpses, and every day for months and a half, 4 to 5 bodies were burned in the schoolyard.
私は翌年1946年2月に生まれ、母と子供7人が残されました。現在79歳になります。父の写真を見て育ちました。また13年くらい前に兄が亡くなった時、お墓を開け、 父の遺品が残されていることを知りました。ベルトのバックル、鍵束、財布の金具です。
I was born in
これ、
February. Okay.
Yes.
浜井さん、どうぞ見せてください。私
です。
は話します。はいはい。I was born in
見えます
February
か？
1946. OK です。
これが私の父の写真です。
はい。I was born in February 46.
こ
My
れ
mother
が
and her 7 children.
母が持ち帰った遺品です。
This is the
ベルト
belongings
の
to his
バック
father's.
ル、鍵束、
The buckle of his father's belt.
財布の金具です。
And then the metal frame of his father wallets been kept in the grave together, and he just found this actually 12 years recently, very recently, maybe around 12 years ago. Okay, I do a translation. I was
Yes.
born in February 1946. My mother and her 7 children were left behind. I'm now 79 years old and grew up knowing my father only through a photograph that we shown just now. When my brother died about 13 years ago, I discovered my father's belongings in the family grave. A belt buckle, a ring, and the metal frame of his wallet.
今も父親のことを私は思わない日はありません。私にはまだ戦争は終わっていません。なぜなら、いまだ世界に12000発の核兵器があり、4000発の核弾頭はいつも発射される状況にあるからです。被爆者は核兵器がゼロにならなければ安心できないのです。
There has never been a day I did not think of my father. For me, the war has not yet ended, because there are still about 12,000 nuclear weapons in existence, with 4,000 warheads on alert and ready to launch at any time. Hibakusha cannot feel peace until nuclear weapons are completely eliminated.
母親のお腹で原爆を浴びた若い細胞にとって放射能の影響は計り知れないものがあります。妊娠早期に近距離被爆で生まれた人で原爆小頭症被爆者と言われ、体や知能の発達が遅れている人がいます。体内被爆者は生まれる前から被爆者という烙印が押されていると言われています。原爆は本人の未来を奪い、家族をも苦しめる悪魔の兵器です。
The effects of radiations on a developing fetus are immeasurable. Some who are exposed to the bomb in early pregnancy near the hypocenter were born with what is known as atomic bomb microcephaly, which means that the child born after the atomic bomb of Hiroshima and Nagasaki had an abnormally small head and severe intellectual disability to the radiation exposure. Suffering of the delayed in physical and intellectual development. It is said that those exposed in the womb carry the mark of being born as Hibakusha. The atomic bomb is a devilish weapon that robs individuals of their future and brings suffering to entire families.
原爆投下から11年間、最も援助が必要だったこの時期、占領下にあった7年間、その後の日本政府からも被爆者は放っておかれました。原爆について報道も規制されました。1945年だけで広島と長崎で21万人が亡くなりました。
For the first 11 years after the bombing, including 7 years of occupations by the Allied powers, Hibakusha were left without support. even though they needed it most at the time. Reports about the atomic bomb were censored. In 1945 alone, 210,000 people died in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
1954年、ビキニ環礁での水爆実験による死の灰を浴びたマグロ漁船の船員の被爆をきっかけに、原水爆禁止運動が高まる中、1955年8月に第1回原水爆禁止世界大会が広島で開催され、翌年に長崎で第 2回大会が開催され、1956年8月10日に日本被団協は結成されました。結成宣言で、私たちは自らを救うとともに、私たちの体験を通して人類の危機を救おうと誓い合いました。
In 1954, when the Japanese fishermen were exposed to the radioactive fall from the hydrogen bomb test at Bikini Atoll, a nationwide anti-nuclear movement arose. This first world conference against the atomic and hydrogen bomb was held in Hiroshima in 1955, followed by the second in Nagasaki in 1956. On August 10, 1956, Nihon Hidankyo was founded. In our founding declaration, we pledge we will save ourselves and through our experience, help save humanity from crisis.
原爆は閃光とともに2つの町を壊滅させ、無差別に大量殺傷しました。人類が初めて体験した核戦争の地獄でした。原爆は今に至るまで被爆者の命、体、暮らし、心にわたる被害を及ぼし続けています。原爆は人間として死ぬことも人間として生きることも許しません。核兵器はもともと絶滅だけを目的とした狂気の兵器です。人間として認めることのできない絶対悪の兵器です。
The atomic bomb instantly annihilated two cities with a flash and slaughtered people indiscriminately. Humanity experienced, for the first time, the hell of nuclear war. The effects of the atomic bomb continue to this day, harming the life, bodies, livelihoods, and minds of the hibakusha. The bomb denies victims the right to die as human and even to live as a human. Nuclear weapons are instruments of absolute evil, created solely for annihilation.
私たちは私たちの地獄の体験を子や孫や世界の人々に味わわせてはならない。再び被爆者を作るな、核兵器なくせと今日まで諦めることなく国の内外で訴えてきました。原爆被害は戦争を遂行した国によって償われなければならない。そして核兵器は極めて非人道的な兵器であり、人類とは共存させてはならない。速やかに廃絶しなければならないという2つの運動を展開してきました。いずれも道半ばですが、私たちは諦めません。
We have continued to carry out, do not let anyone ever again suffer as we did. Abolish nuclear weapons. Our movement has carried two central messages. The nations that wage war must make amends for the atomic bombings. Nuclear weapons are inhumane and incompatible with humanity. They must be abolished immediately. Both goals are still halfway to achieve.
核兵器禁止条約が2017年122カ国の 賛成によって国連で採択され、2021年に発効しました。被爆者にとって原爆投下から76年目にして初めて実現した悲願の国際条約です。核兵器はいかなる意味でも違法だとした国際法が実現したことは大きな喜びです。核兵器禁止条約第3回の締約会議では、これまでの議論を踏まえ、核兵器禁止条約を世界にどう知らせ育てていくか、そして核被害者の援助や環境回復、基金などについて議論されました。
In 2017, the Treaty on the Provision of Nuclear Weapon (TPNW) was adopted by 122 countries at the United Nations and entered into force in 2021, 76 years after the bombing, fulfilling the long-cherished wish of Hibakusha. For the first time, an international law made the possession and the use of nuclear weapons illegal. This was a moment of great joy for us. At the third meeting of state parties to the TPNW, discussions were held on how to promote and strengthen the treaty globally, as well as assistance for victims, environmental restorations, and the creations of fund.
核兵器の保有と使用を前提とする核抑止論ではなく、核兵器は一発たりとも持ってはいけないというのが被爆者の心からの願いです。
The logic of nuclear deterrence, which assume the possessions and potential use of nuclear weapons, must be rejected. For the Hibakusha, even one nuclear weapon is unacceptable.
パレスチナ自治区ガザ地区はこれまで2年間の戦闘が続き、イスラエルによってジェノサイドと言われる執拗な攻撃が繰り返されてきました。これまで6万7千人が亡くなったと言われていますが、子どもや女性が多く含まれています。被爆者は80年前の原爆投下で1945年8月6日のあの日に亡くなった死者の3分の2は女性、子ども、高齢者でした。原爆は非戦闘員までも無差別に殺傷し尽くす絶滅の兵器です。これと重ね合わせ、ガザ地区で未来ある子どもたちが亡くなり、傷ついた姿を見るには、悲しみと涙と怒りなくしては見られませんでした。先の国連でパレスチナを国家と認める国が160カ国以上に上っています。和平合意により、一日でも早く普通の生活ができるように願っています。
In the Palestine Gaza Strip, fighting has continued for past 2 years, with relentless attacks by the Israel that many describe as genocide. It is said that 67,000 people have lost their life, many of them children and women. 80 years ago, during the atomic bombing of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, 2/3 of the victims were women, children, and the elderly. The atomic bomb was a weapon of annihilation that indiscriminately killed non-combatants. When we think of this tragedy, it is impossible to see the suffering and death of children in Gaza. The children who once had bright futures without deep sorrows and tears and anger. At the recent United Nations meeting, more than 160 countries recognized Palestine as the state. I sincerely hope that through the peace agreement, the people of Gaza will soon be able to live ordinary, peaceful lives once again.
被爆者は核兵器禁止条約のさらなる普遍化と核兵器廃絶の国際条約の策定を目指しています。このため、核兵器は人類と共存できない、核兵器の非人道性を訴えていきます。証言を通じて核保有国や同盟国の核政策を変えさせる力になるよう願っています。被爆者の平均年齢は86歳を超えました。ご参加の皆さん、若い皆さん、核兵器をなくすためどうしたらいいのか、被爆者の証言や運動から学び、工夫し、行動してほしいのです。人類が核兵器で自滅することのないように、核兵器も戦争もない世界の人間社会を求めて頑張りましょう。ありがとうございました。
We aim to universalize the Treaty of the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons and establish a comprehensive international treaty for nuclear abolitions. We will continue to appeal to the world about the inhumanity of nuclear weapons, which cannot coexist with humanity. Through our testimonies, we hope to influence the policies of nuclear-armed states and their allies. The average age of Hibakusha now exceeds 86 years old. To all of you participating here today, especially the younger generation, I would like to ask, what can you do to eliminate nuclear weapons? Learn from testimonies and the movement of Hibakusha, think creatively and take actions. Let us strive together to ensure the humanity never perish through nuclear self-destruction. Let us build human society free of both nuclear weapons and war. Thank you very much. So, thank you so much, Dr. Reevany. So, I give back the mic to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Azam. Thank you very much, Mr. Jiro Hamsumi. There was a very insightful sharing session that we have that you shared with us just now, and we really appreciate to have a bit of an insight to what happened in Japan and the experience of a survivor. We would like to open the forum for everyone to share their thoughts, as well as if you have questions. Please be concise and direct your question to the speaker. But before that, we would like to invite our distinguished discussant. So hold your thoughts. Prepare the questions in your mind first. We will invite Professor Emeritus Dzulkifli Razak to give us some comments about the presentation just now. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reevany, and also thank you very much to the speaker, Hamsumi, for giving a very elucidate description of what he went through 80 years ago. And also I would like to thank Yukihime-san for making all this possible today. It is beyond my expectation listening to the speaker, what he has said. A number of words stuck in my mind now when he said we are deprived to die as a human, let alone to live as a human because of the atomic bomb. And of course his final request, what can we do to make sure that this episode will not be repeated again? I want to take a position of the son of a Hibakusha My father was there at the age of 19 in 1944 to 1945 when the bomb was dropped. But his description that I went through and the description that was said this morning, I think pales against what was said by the speaker, that he was in his mother's womb when the bomb was dropped, and he was born in 1946, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a generation that lives through the aftermath of the war. And I think this is a very unique experience when he compared this to Gaza, where a lot of women and children were also experiencing the same thing. This is something that we cannot experience, don't want to experience, but it is something that we should, as he also mentioned, empathize. What can we do in terms of making sure that the future generation will not experience the same thing? So I would want to start by beginning to address my younger colleagues who are now living through this episode in Gaza. If we want to imagine what Hiroshima is, I think we need just to look at Gaza. In Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 2 days of episode, on the 6th of August and the 9th of August, 2 bombs were dropped. Okay. But in Gaza, it has been 2 years now. Not 2 days, but 2 years. Okay. And not only 2 bombs, but hundreds of bombs has been dropped. And as been mentioned, again, children and women are the victims, the major victims of this. And this is the reality of things. And I think we cannot talk about just, theoretical thing, but what can we do in the context of empathizing? I would like to begin with the university. When I was here a student, there was a conflict resolution center. I'm not Azam. Was that the name?
Peace Center.
Sorry?
Peace, yeah. Peace and Conflict Resolution Center.
Research and Education for Peace.
Okay. This was the first one in the country, if I'm not mistaken. They've been very active on this. The question of conflict and resolution, they've been very active on this. And Professor Azam is one of the heads of that center. And it dawns on me at that particular time, this is an episode that we also need to learn. I was a science student. Science students are normally very blind to all these things. We are very occupied in our labs and the things that we do, but we do not know what's happening around us. So through this, I learned that peace is something that we need to begin with if we want to start doing whatever we want to do. And the desire for peace comes directly from my father, who has been there, as I mentioned, when he came back. Every 6th of August, he will call a meeting of the family to recite the same experience that he went through. He went through an experience that I think nobody wants to repeat, but certainly his experience is more tragic than anything that we can imagine around the world, and I would not want to repeat this because it has been mentioned many times. Yeah? So what we can do, I want to address it now, as a university, what we can do to make sure that this bomb episode will not be repeated. Maybe that is too far, maybe it is too difficult. But I would like to mention when I was in the International Islamic University for the last 6 years, we mobilized the Kuliah, which is the Faculty of Law, and they were the one moving the students to also push into this non-proliferation treaty that was signed, as mentioned, in the year January 2021. Yeah? In recognizing this, I think that the name of the university was mentioned, and the students are the one that is moving this episode forward. Yeah? And I would want to also suggest that University of Science Malaysia takes this position and see how we can move forward after that non-proliferation treaty was signed in 2021. And I'm very glad that the students from History Society, Persatuan Sejarah are here. I think you will probably be the seeds to interpret this, to ensure that what we can do as a university, following through what Professor Azam has had and laid the foundation for. I don't think the Peace Center is as active as it was. I remember we went to the southern of Thailand, we went to Mindanao. We also looked at the kind of issues that is within the region. And this is again one of the centers that we want to talk about, regionalism against global sort of dimension, because regionalism now becomes a very important issue when we need to deal with our own problems rather than hanging on to the global power that sometimes do not say what we want to say. So this idea again that Reevany has got on Nusantarization that we launched that book recently is one of the episodes that probably we need to look into very deeply. And how do we interpret our own history? How do we make sure that our history is the narrative that we want the world to understand, rather than the world telling us what is it that they want us to understand, given their own problem, their own psyche, and perhaps their own narrative, which is very selfish to themselves. So these are issues that I think it is important that we bring it up today. Maybe we don't have time to discuss the full length of it, but I think we want to also bring this as part and parcel of this narrative of the larger war. How do we begin with ourselves, with our university, with our community, with our region, before we go into the world proper? Yeah? And I want to recognize again a very close friend of mine, perhaps is my mentor and my teacher. When I was a student, I didn't know anything about this until I met a person like Datuk Sri Anwar Fasal, the late S.M. Idris, who taught me different stories, different knowledge, different perspective of what the world is all about. Yeah? In our classroom, we talk about a very naive sort of history, a very naive sort of interpretation that we do sometimes feel confused when we listen to the lecturers on stage and experiencing different things at the same time. So Datuk Sri Anwar tells me that at the end of the day, we need to govern our own understanding, our own narratives, and our own interpretation, and be willing to defend it. Right? Sometimes the university wants to remain neutral. We say no. University is not about remaining neutral. University is about interpreting what the truth is all about. And sometimes there's a risk to it also. Your dean may not like it, your head of department may not like it, but it's not about people liking it. It's about us defending our own history and our own understanding, and to make sure that the people at the same time articulate the same view that they do not have. Like I was a student. They are in a classroom that is, quite neutral as far as they are concerned, but we need them to give the narrative that they need to understand so that they can speak for themselves at the same time. So these are the perspective that I take, and I want to end this by thanking the Hiroshima Museum and also Professor Azam, the Hiroshima City University, for making this possible. And also to coincide it with the last day of the Gestures of Peace that was moved by the Soka Gakkai Center, and make it really an experience that we can go through. As we see some of the posters that were sent to us by the Hiroshima Museum, it is really what you call a timeline that many of us do not understand. And I think today is the last day. If we still have the time to go to Burma Road and visit the center for this exhibition, I would urge you to do so, because it impacts you very deeply of how things are happening around the world, and how 80 years ago this was done, but all of us do not pay much attention to it, and perhaps 80 years from now we need to do something better. So thanks, Dr. Reevany, and also Elisha. You have been, in the loop for the first day, and also Professor Azam for volunteering this what you call moderation and also the interpretation. So I wish you all the best, and arigatou gozaimasu for making this happen, and all of us have benefited from it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tan Sri. As Tan Sri has noted, country's father is also a survivor of the Hiroshima bomb, and in a way that this is an experience that must be always be reminded, and otherwise we risk repeating history sejarah berulang lagi. So we will open the floor for others to share their thoughts or questions. We have a distinguished speaker here, and others who are present as well. So, any comments, questions? Professor Azam, just speak the mic.
I can speak here?
Yeah.
You can hear me from here?
You can, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. To all, especially our former VC, I haven't seen Tan Sri for some time. We still have our research and education for peace. We've been doing things quietly, still involved in various peace processes, but we are not very good at advertising our activities, so people do not know what we have been doing. But that's another story. But in regards to the presentation today, maybe I have some comments and questions to the presenter, and congratulations for the ratification of the prohibition of nuclear weapons in 2021. But I'm just a bit curious, because we have that treaty, and then it's well received, at the UN level around the world, and 122 countries signed. But more importantly for me, the 9 countries, that are in possession of the 12,500 nuclear weapons did not sign. Okay, and then more importantly, and then important also because the countries that are friends with the 9 countries also. I mean the NATO countries also did not sign, and then we have a situation, and it's always like this in international relations. We have a situation where the countries, those people that are concerned about security, about peace, and all those things, they are the ones that's eager to help to promote peace, to reduce war and all those things. But those countries that have the weapons and have aggressive policies around the world, they are not the ones that are interested, in following these things. So sometimes, it makes me wonder, what's going to happen in the future? Because if they are not signatory, to the treaty, they say we don't care. If we want to use weapons, whatever weapons that we have, including nuclear weapons, we will use them anyway. And then we will not listen, to the voices of the majority of the world, and we don't care. And then, we are seeing, these things not only in regards to this treaty, but we are seeing these things in regards to all the conflict situations in the world that we are facing today. The hypocrisy that's there. People are doing things not because it's something that that they have to do, or that, but because of strategic interest and all those things. So my question is that how are we going to move forward, influencing, persuading, those countries that have those nuclear weapons to agree eventually, to agree to this treaty, and to also to future treaties to abolish nuclear weapons, because it's not, we know already, it's not good. We from history we already know the effect of these weapons and all those things, but we keep on, having countries developing and all these things for their own particular interest. So how do we deal, with this kind of situation? How do we influence? How do we persuade, those countries that have these weapons not to use these weapons and not to develop, more weapons, like this? Because we know it's MAD. I mean, there was this term back in the 80s, MAD, which means basically mutually assured destruction. Doesn't matter who uses nuclear weapons, everybody, loses out. So it's MAD, mutually assured destruction. And then recently, I also saw on the news about this Chinese minister who sort of like gave a warning that we will not attack others, but then we will not use nuclear weapons, but then we will not give the chance for others to use their nuclear weapons a second time, meaning that they will then also use their nuclear weapons. But in the end, everybody will lose out. So it's mutually assured destruction. But coming back to my question again, how do we convince those countries that have all the nuclear weapons to not only stop from developing that technology further and to stop them from using nuclear weapons in the future? Because we are always talking to the already converted, and we cannot afford even to develop this kind of weapons. So it's good that we sign these things, because we cannot afford. But those countries, that like I mentioned earlier, how do we persuade and convince them to eventually, follow the rest of the world to stop developing and never use nuclear weapons? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Kamaruzzaman Skandar. Prof. Zam has been leading peace and conflict resolution efforts from USM for a long time, as we developed a regional network, towards the building peace and resolving conflict. But before we proceed, I think there's a request, Dr. Azam, can you please translate for
Mr.
Jiro?
Hamsumi さん、
はい。
今の質問に対してちょっとご回答をお願いしたいと思いますけれども、
はい。
その質問はですね、今のご活動の中ですね、これからはですね、今まだ調印されない、その条約に調印されない国々が、その核兵器を所有されている国々がですね、多分9つと、またその中に NATO とかですね、そこの中に同盟国もあると思うんですけど、その国々と政府に対してですね、いかに核を廃絶する開発も含めてこれから使用しないようにということを、我々が何ができるかということをですね、その国々に対していかなるなんですかね、活動とかそういうこと何ができるかということをというちょっと省略な質問です。よろしくお願いいたします。
はい。質問ありがとうございました。今私たちもその核を持っている国と現在9つあると言われています。それとそういった国々に核を開発しないようにということで、そういう思いがあって、どうしたらそれができるかっていうのは、私が皆さんにこうしたらできますよということはなかなか回答できないんですけれども、今私たちが思っていることは、やっぱり核を持っている国、またその国の国民に核兵器は人間と共存できないんだということをいかに分かってもらえるのかと、そういう証言を通じて私たちは皆さんに知っていただきたいという、そういう思いを思っています。ですので、そのことが直接政府に伝わるかどうかということは難しいですけれども、 あらゆる機会を通じて、被爆者がそういった国々へ発信していくということが、大事だというふうに思っています。
Okay.
とりあえずちょっとそこで、はい。
This answer from Mr. Hamsumi is, I think, maybe some of the translation already appear there. So, in the nutshell, what he answered just now is about, it's very difficult for us to directly influence the government to stop possessing and also developing the atomic bomb or the nuclear weapon. But what we can do is, I think he also mentioned just now in his talk, is to encourage people to know that the nuclear weapon is incompatible with humanity. So in this case, what we can do, and of course, she also asking the crowd, the members of the participants today, please think what we can do and let's think creatively. And one of thing that he encouraged us to do is to send the message to encourage the people or the citizens of that particular country that possessing the nuclear weapon and warhead to spread the voice, to encourage the whole nations to understand, and maybe later on the country going to comply to the demand from their people. So I think I wrap up the answers from Hamasumi-san.
Thank
もう
you.
一つよろしいですか。はい。
はい、どうぞ、Hamasumi-san。はい。
核の不拡散に関する条例っていう NPT の条約がもう一つTPNW とは別に1970年からできていますけれども、その中に、核の不拡散と、軍縮ということが6条に書かれているんですけれども、そこが全く守られていない、そういう状況の中で私たちが何ができるかっていうのは非常に難しい状況があるんですが、やはり国際条約を守るというルールを守るんだっていうそういう規範を強くやっぱり出していかなきゃいけないし、そういう国々は核抑止論に頼っていますけれども、先ほど言いましたように核抑止論は被爆者にとってはキノコ雲以外何もないんですね。絶対使ってはいけない核兵器は一発たりとも持ってはならないというのが被爆者の願いです。そういうことをどういうふうに伝えていくのか、皆さんと共に、やはり行動していかなければというふうに思っています。
And Mr. Masumi-san just mentioned that actually there's another treaty was signed in 1970s that also almost the same like the TPNW. The content is not to spread or not to develop the nuclear weapon and also to control all the usage of the nuclear weapon. But however, even though the signatory has been signed, the treaty has been signed since 1970, but nobody bothered about it. So we say what we can do is to continuously push for the abolishment of the nuclear weapon. And also, he also touched about the nuclear deterrence. Okay, this ideology of nuclear deterrence is totally unacceptable. So we should encourage this ideology of nuclear deterrence to be, and of course, he also keep repeating that we should even make the normal nuclear weapon to be available or developed by the humankind.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Azam. Perhaps we should also take note that the translation from the translation on the screen is not that perfect. There are all kinds of food and animals that can appear in the screen.
New weapons.
New biological weapons. Yeah, but so just ignore the translation there.
Biological weapons.
Huh? Dia baca juga. Happens. So just ignore that. I'm trying to read, but it's not really useful at all. Perhaps we can get maybe that Anwar would like to say a couple of words and share your thoughts as well.
You keep that so that you can stop me. Assalamu alaikum. These words in Islam are so powerful that every time we greet someone, we use the word peace. And that's central to the life that I have grown up in. I happen also to grow up in a town called Taiping. And Taiping means in Chinese, everlasting peace. And it was a town where the people were fighting with each other over control over the tin business. And later, they decided, stop fighting, let us work out a system when we can share. And the fighting was interesting. It was with two Chinese groups belonging to two different secret societies, they call them, or clubs. And they associated with the local communities, the royal families and the controlling, and made a partnership with them and trying to give me the authority, give me the power, you know, and that battle was going on in that place. And this place was the tin capital of the whole world. The whole world's tin. And because of aluminium, tin cans, rooftops and so on, it became one of the biggest industries in the world in terms of international action. And in the end, we decided, wow, stop it. We'll start a new town instead of the towns of the two people. And that town will be called Everlasting Peace. And it was designed beautifully in a modern way. The old tin mines that were there that had dug huge ponds and were rotten were actually 100 years ago transformed into very natural botanic gardens with lotus leaves which represent peace and show you how that even out of the dirtiest water, such beautiful things can grow, which is also a very powerful lesson that is there. And so you had a town that preserved its environment, rebuilt the old environment that was their life before. And one of the things that we decided when I was here working with USM, that USM should play a new role on peace and do something. So we decided that we'll have a program called the Taiping Peace Initiative. Zul will remember. And the United Nations, that time I was working for the United Nations, together with USM, the local municipality, together we organized a peace conference forum in Taiping. And we set up this Taiping Peace Initiative where there were to be annual lectures and activities celebrating the town. And most of all, we wanted to have a symbol that will remind people about the story. Because very often you need symbols, and the power of symbols is not important. Otherwise, an idea is just floating around, nobody remembers the idea. You need a physical symbol. So we decided a very powerful common thing that was growing at that time out of Japan. And the idea was put peace poles everywhere you have an opportunity. And the peace pole will say, may peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail on earth. And you can have as many signs as you want in the different languages. And we chose the 4 main languages of Malaysia, and we put up the pole, a very interesting pole. And then we also made a pathway pathway where people can walk along the lake, and on that are stones where the words "May peace prevail on earth" are in all the United Nations languages. So people can take a walk, go to the port, walk. So then that becomes a symbol that actually transforms the town's image. Because the town, like a sleeping town they call. Suddenly, we organize a world meeting of journalists to come there and have their conference. They said, "Why are you holding a conference? We've never heard of Taiping, you know." But when they went there and they heard the story of the Taiping, and these journalists themselves were journalists whom we were taking through a course on peace and the role of journalism in peace, because communications and media are very special and very important, because as we know, you know, we influence people's mind. And we have three kinds of mind. One mind is the auto mind. If somebody tells you, you also go. Then you have the emotional mind, you play on people's feelings and so on. And the third is the thinking mind. You know, we have to try to get that organized so people will start thinking of that. So that symbolically also links with the fact that USM was the first to have a peace center, peace studies place. Yeah, and here then this center was playing a key role, and USM was playing a key role. So I think that spirit of peace should continue, should build. We had actually just down the road, 100 meters at the roundabout, where you see a statue. There were actually, I think, 7 poles donated by Taiping, made out of original wood of the railways. There again, trying to get the legacy of using and recycling and the whole movement of sustainability that Tan Sri had started in here. Unfortunately, again, and this is very important, how do you sustain? How do you maintain? People just sometimes ignore these type of things because you don't hold activities, you don't celebrate. You know, you don't go there and say, we must get this done, and then we must keep on building more and more things, and and get people more and more people influenced. Suddenly, it's all disappeared because they said it was getting rotten. Yeah, but it was getting rotten. If good things get rotten and go, what do? You step on them, throw them in the drain? How do you deal with goodness? How do you deal with goodness? You do that kind of way. And sadly, sometimes the mindsets of authorities don't ignore this kind of heritage issue. So it's very important that there is a team within each university that has this spirit of what I call conscience, of courage and competence. Yeah. So you don't allow these kind of things to happen. The world needs peace. Peace is something that is within all of us. So you have several important resources that you can get on. UNESCO, with whom we have had a very nice, very close arrangement, has a charter of peace, where they have, I think it's about 60 odd things that define peace and talk about peace. And peace has 3 dimensions, and people very often forget about these 3 dimensions. One is, peace begins with yourself. Peace with yourself. When you feel that in yourself, then you can understand what peace is. When people are denied peace, you can feel for that. The other one is peace with other people. That's why every time when Muslims meet, we always say Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, and the word is just all the time. I just saw a video last night of a woman from the United States who was a great writer and so on, and she embraced Islam. And she embraced Islam. She was like a top Miss Thailand, but she was of mixed American and Buddhist orientation. There, she came to Malaysia, and after that, she just was so impressed. And one of the things she said, my life changed. Before I used to walk around, nobody cared anything. But now, when I walk, she's wearing a hijab and she walked around, people will always pass by. They say, Assalamu alaikum, and then they go on. So you give people a greeting, and as you go. And that's just changed a life that, I feel a sense of community all the time. Not locked up in the place. And there is a wonderful other manual when people say, what can we do? What can we do? 198 non-violent tactics on making the world a better place. On that line. Somebody has even extended it before. We shared it part of our programs with the police. It was done by a person called Gene Sharp. And Gene Sharp was a recipient of the alternative Nobel Prize, which was called the Right Livelihood Award. And USM was very proudly the headquarters of the college that's to promote the link between activists and academics. And we wanted to bring the AA idea together that, academics are also to spread getting things done. So PhD is like that, GTD also must be after your name, getting things done. Yeah? And BST also must be after your name. BST. What is BST? Blood, sweat, and tears. That means you must be prepared to go down and get things done. So everything now the world is there. We are living through unimaginable genocide, unimaginable, horrific, let's say, barbaric, just genocide. And what is happening? There are people who are just laughing about the countries that talked about peace, that talked about the United Nations, okay, talked about nuclear. They don't care. Secretly, France was teaching Israel how to build a nuclear bomb, and quietly and secretly they had. But if Iran is only doing nuclear research for nuclear purposes in other medical areas, no, bomb them, bomb their places, bomb their leaders. Can you imagine? This is like, a fantastic, horrific story. And I think the earth, looking at history, right, we have never seen such a horrific goings on in the world. And that's why it's so important that the youth, you are not just, you must make the future now and get together. And my hope is we will work together on this. I'm still a young man. I'm 5 years older than our speaker just now, but I still consider myself in the youth of old age, and that's also a kind of advantage, you can have experience. So terima kasih, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So please allow me to translate a bit in concise to Hamasumi-san. Okay. 浜澄さん、ですね、今の内容はちょっと長いんですけども、ちょっと簡潔的にですね、今、アヌアル先生がですね、何をおっしゃったかと言いますとですね、その中に、ピースというのがどういう、ムスリムにとっては何かと言いますと、ものすごく重要な、日常茶飯事というのがですね、人が会うときに必ず、アッサラムアライクムという、言葉を、交わすんですけども、そのアッサラムアライクムの意味としては、実はあなたに平安があるっていうのがですね、あなたにピースというのがですね、意味なんですね。そういうのがいかに、日常茶飯事でも、こういうような、みんなが、普通に使われている言葉であるっていうのがですね、もっと深く意味を、理解した方が、あるいは展開した方がっていうこともいいのかなと思いますんで、その後にですね、彼がおっしゃったのがですね、マレーシアにあるすごく場所があるんです。タイピングという場所がですね、そのタイピングという場所がですね、世界のですね、昔の鈴を世界中心、鈴の産地であったっていうんですよね。でもやっぱりそのタイピングという場所がですね、実はものすごく内戦があったんですね。その内戦は誰と誰の喧嘩というか戦争があったかと言いますと、中国のギャングなんですね。2つのギャングがあって、そのギャングがずっと戦争とか喧嘩 なってですね、あんまりそのタイピングという街がですね、その鈴を奪い合うということに対してですね、もう喧嘩になったり、なかなか平和がない場所ということをですね、でもその後がですね、もうみんなその戦争をやめましょうよということですね、そのタイピングという場所を、良くするために共通価値観を、築いたということでですね、やっとタイピングという場所がですね、平和を訪れたと。その中にですね、タイピングのところにですね、すごく池があってですね、その池にですね、池のの中にですかね、そのハスという、ロタスという木を、置いてたんですけど、それは非常にシンボリックというか、象徴的な意味合いもあってですね、こんな汚い水でも、この綺麗なハスという、木を、ハスという葉っぱを、植物を、植えることができるというのが、ものすごく深く、いかに汚いところでも平和が築くことができるということがですね、そのきっかけに、タイピングにいろんな活動も、大学とさっきのズキフリ先生とも一緒に活動をやってってですね、なんか学会とかそういうシンポジウムも開催されてですね、いろんな、記者たちを招待して、タイピングという先のですね、象徴的なシンボルと、タイピングの歴史ということをもっと、平和が築いたということを世界に発信するというのがちょっと共感ができるために、記者さんたちを招待して、その情報をみんなに共有すると、もっと拡散するということがあるんですね。また最後にですね、ちょっとそのピースとは何かということをですね、3点があったんですが、僕3つ目がちょっと聞き取らなかったんですけど、最初はピースというのが平和というのが自分から始まると。自分の中の心の中の自分が平和をいかに自分との戦いという一つもあってと、それから他の人との平和をどう築くかということをですね、いう意味を含まれているということをですね、全体的にそういう意味なんです。ちょっともっと長いんですけど、余談もいっぱい入ってきて、そういうことです。はい、以上です、浜澄さん。
はい。平和については、被爆者は原爆にあった時からもう二度とこの地獄を味わいたくないと、そこから戦争はもう嫌だというところから始まってきてますね。で、日本では私たちはやっぱり戦争しないんだというところにつながってきてると思うんですけれども、そのことが一つですし、1982年でしたが、世界で、軍縮の大会がニューヨークで開かれた時に、長崎の被爆者で山口千治という人がいて、ノーモア広島、ノーモア長崎で、ノーモア被爆者の前にですね、ノーモアウォーって言ったんです。被爆者の前にウォーって。で、このことの意味っていうのは、戦争したから原爆を落とされたということがあるわけですね。で、そういう意味では戦争は絶対してはダメなんだっていうことを、そのことを彼は訴えてきて、やはり私たちは戦争を しない、核兵器も戦争もない世界をということを今言ってますけれども、やはりそこには深い意味があるということでですね、皆さんにも考えてほしいという、そういうふうなところを思っています。やはり平和なくして今の普通の生活はありえないということをですね、でガザの中学生の人が言ってたんですが、平和は自分たちの夢を叶えるために必要なんだという、これがなかったら絶対夢は叶えられないということになるかと思いますね。やはりこれは全てに通じることです。私たちの活動の基本になる考え方だというふうに思っています。
Okay, that's the response from Hamsumi-san. He said that the basic principle of their movement is about to the create peace. Okay, and he did mention that there's one event that happened in New York in 1982 where they're discussing about the nuclear arms between those countries, and there's one guy from Nagasaki named Yamaguchi Senchi-san. He went to do a demonstration there in New York and shouted that no more Hiroshima, no more Nagasaki. And he said that the first place, and then later on he put no more war and no more Hibakusha. So which means their group is not only promoting about the nuclear disarmament or nuclear abolition, but also their movement is thinking about or promoting about no more war to stop absolutely the war. So this is their main, how to say, their main principle. And he said that he also referring to the life in Gaza, where the kids, are looking for peace. And he said that no life without peace.
Thank you so much, Dr. Azam. Thank you. I'm also the MC looking at the time. So now it's 10:30, right? What we'll do is this: we'll have an official closing of the session. Right? We will take note a couple of things from our forum today. Right? Number one is that this is a horrific episode of our history, and history is important. It's extremely important, and we do not want to repeat this part of history, and we need to bring it into our everyday life, into our society, to have reminders in our society, to have activism in our society. And Prof. Zam just now was raising a very important point, but what can we do? Something we need to think about, right? In Indonesia, the students' activism is extraordinary. I'm not saying that students should do that, but it's very, very effective, right? And they went on a rage and ransacked the houses of the parliamentarians and all that, right? Very, very effective. So they stopped. So it's not worth it to be parliamentarians. It's not worth it to become politicians. The whole society hates me. So it's very, very effective way of activism. This is not the only type of activism, right? So, but we need to think about it. Maybe we can discuss it after we have this the closing of our forum today. Since we have stated that it's between 9 to 10 now, we have extended the time to 10:31 now, right? So we would like to have like to convey our appreciation, our deepest appreciation to those who are present today, to Mr. Jiro Hamsumi, to Tan Sri Zul, and to also Dr. Azam, and those who have been contributing to the success of this event. Yukimi-san. Thank you, thank you, Yukimi-san, and thank you very much for. I think there are people who have logged on to our WebEx session, and there were people from across the other side of the continent, Asian continent, who are also here. Yeah. Oh, there's a comment from Dr. Azrina, who has actually studied in Japan as well. You can look at the comments there. Where is it? Okay, it's in Japanese, so I won't be translating it. Otherwise, some food items will come out from the translation. We were just joking just now how many Japanese words that we know, like sushi, sushi. It's a very limited, right? So, arigato gozaimasu. Thank you so much, everyone. We also have forms for those who have attended. You like to get certificate, you could get the certificate for attending this event. Is in the chat session, the chat column, and those who are present here, you could communicate with Hanif. He will help to facilitate for you to get your certificate. So after this, we could have a follow-up discussion, and we also have we have lunch ready for you, right? We have lunch ready for you too. So, but the lunch is a bit later, about 20 minutes from now. So,
sushi is not.
Yeah, well, it's not sushi. It's not sushi. It's not sushi. It's more than sushi. However, I'd like to end with this note. Maybe, this should not be just a talk session. Since Club Sejarah is here, since people like Prof Zam is here. Prof Zam is par excellence scholar activist, right? We have shook the hands of all the people from both sides of the conflict, including Cuban Fidel Castro, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sure. I mean, I remember that you were explaining it to me. So before he passed away, so maybe we can have a discussion afterwards about what we can do together. And Dato Sri Nofaisa is here too, and he's been an activist since I know him, right?
Since university days.
Since university days.
President of the Students' Union.
Yes, yes.
And the National Union of Students. So.
Yeah. Since my father's days, where you were, it was this RMC, right? RMC, yeah.
Doctor?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay, Atif from Pakistan.
You close it first.
Can we close it first and then right? Okay. So thank you very much. We will end the session. Thank you, everyone. We will end the WebEx session. So we will continue after this with our short discussion.
We can give a big applause to Hamsumi-san, I think.
Yes, please.
今日はどうもありがとうございました。皆さん、たくさんの人に聞いていただいて嬉しく思います。また、核兵器のない世界、戦争もない世界に向けて共に頑張っていきたいと思います。今日はありがとうございました。
So I'm deeply today appreciated for your participants, and we hope that we pray together and we work together toward the world that have without nuclear arms.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So shall we end the session now, right?
Okay.
All right. Still on. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. I think we should give ourselves a big hand of applause. While waiting, tunggu makanan sampai. Makanan sampai pukul 11.
Yeah. I want to say something.
Yes, please.
Pakistan friend.
Atif, you want to say something? Because
I would like to say first, I would like to ask a question from all of you that who promotes peace. Yeah, I definitely am in favor of peace. But the thing is that why should we stop nuclear weapons? So it's a question. Like America is also a country who promote weapons and who creates like a disturbance or a chaos. Such kind of countries like Pakistan nowadays. Who knows better than us that Pakistan has been, since 1947. We are in chaotic situation. Yesterday, also 200 people were killed. So many lives, like we have never seen peace. When I was a child, I used to be a child from 2013 to 2018. My eyes, when we were about to go to our school, so our parents said just goodbye forever. Why? Because when we open eyes for the explosion of bombing, because Pakistan also we are being victimized by the terrorism. So to promote the terrorism like this, and another thing, we are being threatened by the India as well. So that's the thing. Like we also like to promote the peace, but if we stop nuclear bombing, that Pakistan is the only Muslim country who has a weapon, meaning that nuclear weaponized country. If we stop the nuclear weapon, so we will be no more on this planet, because we are being threatened by by the India. We also have a problem nowadays. We have a problem from the Afghanistan too. So my question is, why should we stop nuclear weapon? Over to you, sir.
I don't know. This nuclear weapon thing is not my forte. I find it very difficult to understand it, let alone to stop it. While you are talking, I think, why can't we Muslim produce Islamic bomb? What is Islamic bomb? Islamic bomb, when it explodes, it sends in food. It doesn't kill people. I mean, this may be beyond your thinking, but we have to have an alternative before we can say stop this. It is my experience. If you say stop this, what is the alternative? We're talking about ranking, misalnya. We want to stop ranking. People are saying, what is the alternative? You stop it, what is the other alternative? I think we need to think of alternative. This is where Anwar Faisal is good at. I did the 99 piece that we didn't get to show. Our thinking power is, what is the alternative? If there's an Islamic bomb, when it explodes, everybody gets food, I think the nuclear bomb will go. You don't have to fight for it. Because people know the alternative is anytime better. But if Pakistan wants to build another bomb, Iran wants to build another bomb, like Anwar said, they will bomb you before you build it. They are so powerful that whatever you want to do, they can stop it immediately. And we are not in a position to bargain at that particular point. Plus, Islamic world are all, you can find the kind of politics in the Islamic world. Sometimes they also make treaty with the Israelis behind your back. So I don't want to address this, but I want to come back to you guys. What I think it is important that we can do now. You don't have to wait for anybody. I'm thankful again for Anwar Faisal for reminding me many of the things. He's very good memory compared to. Now I want to start with 3 or 4 things. Pertamanya, why can we reactivate balik apa yang Professor Zam dah buat? How many of you knows about this peace education and conflict resolution? Letak betul-betul depan School of Social Science. One is on the AIDS thing, and one is resolution. Yeah, he's very humble by saying that he doesn't want to advertise, but it's not about advertisement. It's about education. Advertisement is where you put gambar menteri around. That's advertisement. Yeah, we have about 9 of them. We don't need enough. Now, why don't you put one and say this is about peace? And this is something to do with sustainable development goals 16 and 17, which we are supposed to be good at.
Which is number 1 supposedly kita. Yeah. We're number 1.
We're supposed to be number 1 in the world.
Yeah.
But we hardly speak about peace.
Yeah.
And you need to go back to the history. Start with the School of Peace Education. Itu masa tu I was still a student. And you need to start also with this university. Bila kita diintroducekan, you probably will not know this. Saya pelajar sains, I have to take 80% of my course science, or 70% of my course science. The 30% must be non-science. And that's where I learned about political science, anthropology, sociology, and social science. Wife. Kalau tak ada tu, I probably will marry another scientific wife, but may not be as exciting as social science wife. Yeah. That's a piece yang so we create a culture of peace. There's 99 ways. You don't have to do 99. You take top 3 or top 5 which is workable for us. Make that your agenda for a historical society. Yeah. So balik-balik persejarah ni masih hidup lagi ni. Misal janggutnya pertama panjang. Yeah. There are other people, Latif apa?
Latif Kamarudin ke? Where is it? Dia retired lah marah tu.
I don't know, but go back to the history why we started this. Why University of Malaya doesn't start it with due respect. Mengapa kita mula? Kita mula di sini dengan School of Social Science. The first university that used the word social science. Dimulakan oleh dekan daripada University of Malaya. I'll go back to a little bit of history so that you can understand why this university is different. Bila this university appointed its first Vice Chancellor, Professor Hamzah Senut, your library itu, was named the Vice Chancellor. Kita dah kata there will be another university in Malaya here. That's the best thing, the easiest thing to do. What I know, I just import and I don't have to think. But Hamzah Senut did everything different. University of Malaya ada faculty, kita ada school. You must know the difference between school and faculty. School is very flexible. I can take courses wherever it is. Tak payah. There's no head of department. We've got head of programs. People like me who are lost can look at whatever it is. That's one. Okay. Second thing, kita punya School of Social Science. Again, give another. They have School of Arts. We don't have School of Arts. We've got School of Social Science. And we have got School of Humanities. It's the first two schools that start. Walaupun kita dipanggil University of Science, I will tell you why we call it University of Science later. Kita start with Humanities and Social Science. And Humanities is compared and community development. Tolong dibuang. Maknanya kaitan kita dengan masyarakat sudah ada pada awal-awalnya. But now baru kita nak buat sulam lah, itulah ini. It's beyond us. And that's why bila saya jadi student, saya punya kerja every week is to go to the kampung and mengajar budak science, English and maths. It's compulsory. No credit, no co-curriculum, because it's part and parcel of the university philosophy to do this. And I learned how to do this from people like Anwar Faisal. Macam mana to go to no experience. Talk to them. And they teach us how to go into the committee because they've been with the committee for a long time. One of the things that I learned, my soft skills, your soft skills apa? How to do a PowerPoint in 2 minutes. My soft skills, how to entertain a dog before I go to the kampung. Especially the Chinese kampung, they will let loose the dogs. And you cannot go into the kampung unless you deal with the dogs. My soft skill is how to deal with the dogs. I know how to do PowerPoint 2 minutes, but if the dog doesn't allow me to go, my PowerPoint is useless. And that's the kind of soft skills we've got. So kita pergi kita buat daging cincang ni. Now pass it to the dog and there we go. They don't teach you this in School of Social Science. They teach you. They don't. And where do you learn it from? You learn it from the community. The community tells us what to do. So this is the sejarah. I can go along about dia buat apa kita ada college, kita ada desa siswa. What does desa siswa mean? Back to the community. Kita ada pengulu, kita ada penggawa, kita tak ada warden, kita tak ada. That's the spirit, you know. And the desa is such that kita tengah-tengah ni desa ni surrounding dia. Because he's also a very good urban planner. He designs his campus with that kind of surrounded by the desa and then the faculty and then the administration. So you need to understand this balik semula untuk menjiwai. So bila kita katakan university ini, university the garden, that's what it is. That all of you are gardeners. Dia bukan kata saya pun gardener. Nak chancellor tak gardener, nak chancellor mandul. No, university is also a gardener. Because all of us need to look up. So the hierarchy university tak ada. I run the university masa tu as I run belajar pada how the NGOs does it. NGO, why is good? Because they're very mission oriented. They're very resourceful. And they are also very committed. Tiga ni kalau tak ada, the university can go down the drain. And it's going down the drain, sorry. Because all these three are. So I think you need, as a sejarah, this is what the first thing you need to do. The second thing, why can't we revisit balik this typing punya activity? Because as mentioned, we need to talk about peace in a what you call in a practical way. We cannot talk about peace in a very abstract way. People do not understand. And macam-macam interpretation of peace, right? So this, why do we now cari balik yang Dr. Syanwar kata the pillars yang 9 dekat roundabout nombor 2. First roundabout, the second roundabout. Kata 6 pillars, dan itu pun they complain to me tak ada dalam bahasa India. The Indians were up in arms. Why there's no Indian language? I think then we explain this is a language of United Nations, not a Malaysian political language.
So we didn't have the Tamil language.
Tamil. Yes, Tamil. So, cari balik. It's made from railway slipper. It will not rot. If they say it's rot, somebody is lying. Railway slipper never rots.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, it's meant to be
Yes.
strong wood.
Yes.
Hardwood. Yeah.
I don't know why they removed it. Bila kita remove tu, jalan tu, sekarang ni dia namanya Jalan Pendamaian. Kita tukar. Masa tu, I don't know what the name was. But we say Jalan Pendamaian tu lead to that roundabout where these 7 pillars were. Now the 7 pillars tak ke mana, so I've told Dewan Jabat Pembangunan cari. Tapi saya nanti orang kata menyibuk ni. You go and ask them, where are these pillars? Ini sebab, you can see, ini sebagian pada sejarah. Kalau tak nak tanah itu, saya nak tanah ke tempat lain. Yeah. And there's one UNESCO chair professor baru ni datang. Dia tanya saya, where is the pillar? I was here when you launched it. I still have mine. We give them small ones.
Yes.
Dia kata, I still have mine on my desk. This is sejarah that you need to bongkar balik. Yeah? Mana dia? Apa salahnya? Mengapa dia dibuang? Kadang-kadang buangnya because of politics. We are not interested in politics, we are interested in academic. Bring it back. If we cannot put it there, find another place. Campus ni banyak tempat yang boleh kita. And then we go back to typing and find out what can we do in typing. And this is where I think University Science Malaysia masa tu dikenali because of this. Not because of the ranking. Nobody cares about the ranking. We are known. And the other thing yang we are known for is bila kita kata the white coffin. Have you heard of the white coffin lah? Styrofoam yang digunakan untuk ni. The student came to my office and said, we want to get rid of styrofoam. I said, how do you going to do it? Dia kata, we have got an alternative, the ecological part. Tapi dia kata, it's 20 cents more expensive, but we don't mind paying. Yeah? So within 1 month, we carried off it. Student pergi kat kantin, mengatakan, if you serve it with styrofoam, we will not buy from you. Mau tak mau, semua kena tukar. Bila tukar, Naib Chancellor UUM called me up. Dia kata, what are you doing? I said, the student doesn't want a styrofoam. We just bought styrofoam. That's your problem. You know? And from that, one organization in Europe called Global University Innovation Network, or Network of Innovation called GUNI, make in their statement, student activism in USM is able to get rid of styrofoam. They have done it so many times, they cannot get rid. And from there, what happened? State government start to do it. Penang, Melaka, semua. Belajar daripada mana? Belajar daripada kita. And that's what university is all about. We lead, nama kita pun kita memimpin. Tapi sekarang ni kita membuntut orang. Mengikut orang je. We don't have this mentality anymore. Senang je apa orang kata, ambil apa. Then we are not leading, might as well change, we follow. Tukarlah. It's easier. For the Vice Chancellor pun tak payah fikir banyak-banyak. Apa orang ikut? Kerajaan pun begitu juga. Ikut Harvard, ikut Oxford, ikut Cambridge. They are not the best as far as this is concerned. Yeah, they can be good at something else, but it's not what we want. We want something else. So these are the thinking that I think you should be thinking dari segi sejarah. Bukan sejarah yang I don't know what your projects are. But let's go back to our own sejarah. So that bila orang macam saya tak ada, bila orang macam Tan Sri Anwar tak ada, that you becomes the link between what sejarah is all about. What this university is all about is very different from other universities. Sebab tu bila kita buat Apex University, senang. Pasal kita sudah ada kelainan yang ada pada kita. Somebody mentioned, I think, Tan Sri Nordin Sofi, 1988. Yeah? Dia datang bagi ceramah, and I still remember this word. Dia kata, anything that is casual in USM is innovative in other universities. And he's an intellectual par excellence. Now we don't hear that anymore. We don't hear that anymore because we are part of the, how many universities now? 20 public and about 70 from the 100. We cannot distinguish ourselves anymore. So how do we distinguish ourselves is from this, doing something that orang lain tak buat. Okay? And that is within the apex punya environment. So question apex dua tadi. Pertama kita katakan, what is the blue ocean strategy? You must understand again what's the blue ocean strategy ni membuat apa orang lain tak buat. Yeah? So that we don't have to compete. The competition is red ocean. Red ocean is you do everything, semua buat. Kata the first you do the same thing, then you have to compete from these small resources. 5 orang. Yeah? A blue ocean, there's no competition, so all the resources is mine. Because there's no competition. And that's how we win. Bila kita letak kita punya 9 ada universiti, kita berbeza dengan orang lain, and we use the sustainability thing. And the sustainability thing come from another model called the scenario planning. That's another story. Okay? So bila awak buat projek, tanya, is this blue ocean ataupun tidak? Kalau tak blue ocean, leave it. Because everybody is doing it already. Yeah? And that 1919 tu, these are all blue ocean. Take it and lead it. So that orang lain, oh, mengapa USM buat? Bila saya ke UIA, orang UIA tanya saya, mengapa USM boleh jadi berbeza? Mengapa UIA dah ke International Islamic University, patut one of its kind, dia tak berbeza. Pasal apa? Dia tak ada blue ocean. Yeah? Dia buat macam all other Islamic university do the same thing. So they cannot distinguish themselves. And then they play politics. If you cannot distinguish yourself, then you play politics. You bodek one, tu, so that you think you are different. We are not different. Okay? So these are the lessons that I hope the Historical Society will sit down. I don't mind talking to you and go deeper into this. Yeah? And how do you distinguish ourselves from the year 2026, which is 3 months from now? Mula agenda tahun baru, kita katakan universiti ini berbeza. Kalau nak Chancellor nak tahu bezanya, ini dia. Yeah? You just like when people talk, they knock into my door. Dia kata, I remember this. Tan Sri, we want to what they call ban styrofoams. I say, why you want to ban styrofoam? They give me all the reasons that they want to ban styrofoam, which I do not even know. Yeah? And itu saya tanya, what is the alternative? Dah ada pun alternative. Dia kata, we give ourselves 1 month to get it back. Kerja dia macam orang pakai styrofoam dan university punya function, they call me up and say, the university is using styrofoam. They monitor us. I want to bring you another story. When they do sustainable development, saya bercakap dengan professors. Panggil them, I thought they are the leader of the university. I told them we want to do sustainable development. It is 2005. And the response was, we are not interested in sustainable development. One professor said, I became a professor without even uttering the word sustainable development. Another professor said, if you force a sustainable development with me, I will resign. I'll go to another university. I know this is a failure. And I called in the students. Students kata, we want this. This is our future. We want to know where we are leading. And they drive through sustainable development, styrofoam, so many. I told them we have got Sejahtera project. Give me what you want to do. Within a month, I got 30 projects on my desk. Semua student nak buat. Tak ada kredit, tak ada apa. Right? Dan dalam lecture, dia akan tanya professor dia, where is sustainable development in your lecture? And the professor cannot say, you ask that question, I'll resign and go to another university. So the force of movement is yours. My time is over. I think I'll give it back to you and you do it. Before we talk about nuclear weapon, kalau kita tak boleh remove styrofoam in our campus, forget about the atomic bomb. Forget about nuclear. These are just wishful thinking for nothing. Okay? And the last thing that I want to connect, which is very real now, when you talk about aggression, the aggression is in our school and education system. Bully is one. If there's no bully, there's no nuclear weapon. This nuclear weapon bagi saya is about bullying. I've got the nuclear weapon, you better follow me, satu I'll bomb you. Yeah. We can't even get rid of bully in our school. Forget about nuclear weapon. How do we say that the universiti ini tidak ada that kind of issue? Now bully ni dah melarat pada rogol. Yeah? In 2 schools that I detected dah ada. Rogolnya di classroom. Pukul 7 pagi satu kali, pukul 2 pagi, yang pukul 2 tengah hari ni, rogol bergilir-gilir. Kemana kita nak suruh? That's why I want to close this before I mention. Jepun dengar dia kata,